20%, 40%, 60% growth year over year.
And we are totally drama free. Nothing will get done if you don't do that. That's one of the first things we did. It goes to show that when you're doing the right thing for the right reasons, the universe pays you back.
It's translating to results.
Absolutely. So knowing what you stand for, knowing what you want to do, and then building the processes that support that. If you're going to hold a non-family member, an employee, accountable to those processes and those systems, then your family should too. And it's really that simple.
Right. I'm here today with Claudia Zanes, co-founder of Zanes Law, who's been around for how many years?
22 years.
22 years at their brand new office location near 32nd and Camelback.
Yep.
So Claudia has agreed to give me a tour of her beautiful facility, but also the reason they're here is they've been growing for many, many years. Claudia and I and Doug have worked together for over 10 years. And as you'll see, the magic of having processes in place for everything leads to the ability to scale culture, scale results. And so Claudia, hopefully you'll share some of your insights for anyone who's watching this video.
We sure will. Come on in.
Okay, so we're gonna walk in here. Thank you, Claudia.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm a furniture snob. Given my prior background, I'll tell you they did an excellent job appointing this office. So, all right, let's kind of show the office here. Look at that.
Welcome, welcome. We're so excited. We've been in this office for about 2 months, so you'll still see some little things here and there that aren't quite done, but it's okay regardless. We're very, very proud of this office that we've been now just for a very short time. We were at 4222 East Thomas for about 12 years, but then here we are. So welcome to our office.
Lovely. All right, we're gonna kind of walk through, and I could do a panoramic behind us.
Right.
So you've got their lovely conference room, custom
conference room number 1.
Conference room number 1.
Yep.
Conference room number 2.
Number 2.
Here's their beautiful kind of rebrand of their logo there.
Yeah.
So Claudia, as you show me through your space,
sure.
Let's talk about kind of so a lot of people that are watching this, they own their own businesses. Mm-hmm. And what's unique about your business is you founded it with your husband.
Yes, as a non-attorney. I'm a non-attorney. He is, obviously.
As a non-attorney. And then over the years, as the organization grew, you also have hired siblings.
Lots of family.
Kids.
Yes.
Nephew.
A nephew, his wife, my sister, a child. Sure. You know, one of the things that I always thought of that at where we are today is that I always tell them, look, I'm the first one in my family who has achieved anything to this magnitude. And it's my responsibility and it's my pleasure to help my family. Not all of them, but some of them in their career paths. And if there's an opportunity for them here, and they want it, then they're here.
How does it feel to be able to help family?
It feels incredible.
Provide opportunities for families.
That's exactly it. It's an opportunity. It's not a gift. It's not an obligation. It's not any of those things. It is an opportunity. And they have the same opportunity any of your other staff members, any other employees have. They have to do the exact same thing, sometimes even better, most of the times even better, to be employed here.
Okay, so as we're having this conversation, I actually would like this conversation to be a bit of a case study in family business, because Zanes Law, the way you'll see it's operated, would be a top organization regardless of the fact, but the benefits of family business usually, if not done well, have a lot of headwinds. I come from a family business, which I had to part ways because of some of the frustrations and things going on, which now, decades later, I would have done things differently, caused the frustration where I had to say, either I want to be part of the business or I want to be on good terms with my family. So the fact that you were able to build this top tier law firm and grow it, there's clearly some lessons to be learned and some things you put in place.
Lots of them. One of the main things that we learned in building the practice is knowing what you stand for, then building the processes that support that. and the systems. Like that's it.
Processes and systems.
That's
okay?
it.
You're going to hear those
That's
words
it.
a lot.
Knowing what you stand for, knowing what you want to do, and then building the processes that support that. And so if you're going to hold a non-family member, an employee, accountable to those processes and those systems, then your family should too. And it's really that simple.
Right.
You don't treat anybody differently. You don't treat anybody, because they're family. That's not the case. They're in the workplace. They are a team member just like everybody else. That's the key. And as long as they have an understanding, then that's the way it's going to work. Then we're good to go. But if that's not the case, then it's not going to be a good fit, and it will jeopardize your family. And we don't want that, because that is very important. And I would rather have my family than that employee. I can get an employee. I can't replace my family.
No, that's very sin. I have another video where I shared a story that I had to fire my younger sister twice. This was many years ago. So she wasn't performing. I fired her, and then my parents rehired her. And I'm like,
I remember you telling
yeah,
that
so
story.
So I have a different video on that.
Yeah.
But it goes, and the lesson there was, if you have clear accountability and systems, you should treat everyone the same.
Absolutely.
So tell me what happens if you don't treat people the same. How would other employees perceive that?
Well, they're not going to perceive that very well. I mean, they're looking at everything that you do, how you do it, what you say, when you say it. They're viewing and looking at everything. So if they see that you are treating your family, or anybody really for that matter, but particularly if it's your family, in a different way of giving them benefits and things that they don't receive, they're going to resent you. Rightfully so. They're going to resent you. They're not going to work as hard. They're not going to respect you. And that's not what we want from our team members.
Yeah. And it doesn't set the family member up for success either.
Doesn't.
Because they're like, oh, the only reason so-and-so got such and such is because.
You're not doing them any favors. And frankly, I work too hard. They should work hard too.
Oh, absolutely.
They should work hard too, and even harder.
Claudia works really hard. Claudia so I will share this, and I know I have a lot of clients that may be watching this. Zanes is like I can't say favorite because you all will be pissed off, but like they have implemented the processes, the frameworks around a business operating system so well. And what's so gratifying for me as someone who's worked with you over the years is that it's translating to results.
Absolutely. So one of the things about Doug and I is we're so completely different in our strengths.
They are.
And I mean, I think you just like you laugh at us and you laugh with us because you've known us for so long, but we're so different in our strengths. He's a lawyer. He's very analytical. He's slower in his pace. He thinks things through very carefully. I'm very creative. I create, I build, I can see things from the top down very easily. That's my gift. And so one of the things, for example, like when we started using Inerivew to Win many, many, many years ago, I came across it in one of my networking groups, or my mastermind. It was a mastermind back then. And I said, this looks really good, but I'm not the implementer. I'm not going to be that person to take it and pick it apart and put it together and then implement it. But Doug is, or the team, somebody on the team will. Yeah. So that's the key, is to have the people who are so different and bring different skills to your business. So that's how that started. And because we continue to work in that dynamic of high thinker, high level thinker, implementer, and the implementer, that's part of what we do very well as business partners and as a couple.
Awesome. So I want to talk about culture.
Yes.
And let's actually walk to your culture.
Okay, let's go to the culture. The culture area. Yeah. We know when people say, oh, our culture is not just something on the wall.
Yes.
Well, we're going to show you the wall.
Yeah. It's not just expensive wallpaper, as some people say.
We do have the wall.
So by the way, on the way here, I just want to do a little panoramic. This seating area is beautiful. This was all custom designed and made. It's really nice.
Okay.
All right, let's walk towards.
So let's walk over to the wall. Come on this way. And I'll tell you how we came up with this. It was really the universe just talking to us. So if you go this way,
So here's
you'll see, and it's white on white. So I don't know if you can see that very well.
So it says,
but here it says
goat.
GOAT, and that says goat. Oh, it's white on white. So I'm not sure if you see that. Okay.
We see it. And then take us through
here. if we look at that, it stands for we give a damn, we over deliver, we're a blessing to others, and we are totally drama free.
Totally drama
Totally,
free.
totally drama free. So how this came about was after COVID. Do you remember those days? You want to go to the seating area?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
After COVID.
So after COVID, right? Nobody. I think every American business owner thought, I don't think I'm going to have a business.
Yeah.
Remember those days?
Pretty doom and gloom.
Yeah. So we were no different. Lighting's better this way.
Yeah, let's face the light.
There we go. So we were no different. And when we came out of COVID, so 2021, we really, Doug and I had to really sit down and say, what do we really stand for now that we're going to have a business that's going to survive? What do we really stand for? What is in our souls? And we came up with exactly this. I'm a very spiritual person, and I went into a very deep meditation. And when I asked the universe what I stood, what helped me understand what I stand for, the blessing to others is what came out of that. And so we knew that our values was to always deliver and over deliver for our clients. We know that we were going to now be a blessing to others. That's what we were here to be and do. We know that we didn't want any drama. And I always said to Doug, especially over the period of COVID, I said, I wish people just gave a damn.
No, there you go. Okay.
If people just gave a damn about their work, about like our vendors, anybody we were dealing with, if they just cared a little bit, it would mean so much.
Yeah.
And that we said it so many times that it just actually became a value that said, we just need to care. We need to give a damn. And then we went through this rebrand, right? We said, let's shed everything that was pre-COVID.
Okay.
And let's revive ourselves and reinvent ourselves as a new era coming up. And we were working with a web developer and a branding expert. And he came up, and we were always called ourselves the GOATs of the industry.
That's awesome.
And he says, look at this, it just aligns.
So for those of you who have not been on social media in the last 10 years, GOAT
is the greatest of all time.
Yeah, greatest of all time. It's not, Claudia didn't hear a bleeding sound and realize, hey, that's a GOAT. What is it?
No, it's the greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time. So it's a cool acronym. Now, in addition to that, I know we did some work together a few years back where you defined, you and your team, I think we did a survey, helped define what the best specific behaviors were that would help the company achieve its goals and create the right environment for employees and the customers. So, question where a lot of people that are maybe frustrated in their business, or they'll hear something like this and like, well, how do you actually implement? How do you bring just because you put it on a wall, it doesn't mean it will be right? And certainly Claudia is a big driver of the values and behaviors in team meetings like we just had, et cetera. But she's one person. You have many, many employees. So could you share a little bit about your journey and how you take the GOAT and how you take the values, behaviors, and bring it to life in your organization?
Yes, it starts at hiring. You're going to see that GOAT in our hiring ads, with our ads. And when we look for different positions and different people, you're going to see the GOAT clearly stated. These are our values. This is who we are, right? People want to know what you do, what business am I applying for. This is the GOAT values. This is what we stand for. If this aligns with you, if you align with us, these are the responsibilities. We outline
so that's
everything.
Automatically a filter.
It starts at
They're
the top.
They're primed for it. They know that's what you
And
want.
you'll notice when you get an applicant that says, I really align with being a blessing, this is what I desire to do.
Very cool.
When they send a response and they say something like that, you know that's somebody that you should talk to, because they've read it, they've understood it, and they want to be with somebody, a company that aligns with their values as well in some way. So it starts there.
Okay.
The entire interview process has these sprinkled in there. The process we use is called top grading, which is the top grade by Brian Smart. If you might want to pick up that book, it's called The Who. So we use the top grading method to interview and filter more for those aligned values. So there's that. And then if you can use that method of hiring, then you're going to recognize patterns, tendencies that people have, and so you can again assess whether that's a good fit or not.
Okay.
And you got to get really good at that system, but if you do, it really works very well.
Okay.
And then once you onboard somebody and hire them, you need to also demonstrate these things every single day. You need to talk about it as much as possible. It's not just something on the wall.
Yeah.
It's not just something. We don't swear in our office, except we say give a damn all the time,
Yeah.
because it is our culture.
Yeah.
And so when you as an owner freely talk about being a blessing to others, when you point out different things that clients will say on our reviews, they were such a blessing to me.
Yeah.
That's not a word that's commonly used in business.
You put it.
It's just comes
reason.
up. It just comes up. So you'll notice those kinds of things, but you have to continuously demonstrate it. You have to continuously demonstrate it and then attach it to that value. Yeah. And that just keeps getting ingrained in people.
Yeah. And I just want to point out something you said as you're explaining. You shared that it comes up from customers, which is great because you've now skipped beyond your employees for customers to share it. Also, you say in the office, people use those phrases a lot. Mm-hmm. So this is always a sign. If I were to do a survey of people that think they have their values ingrained in the organization, that's one of the indicators where people are using that language.
Yes.
And so that's good. That's when you know you have some kind of traction with it. It's
drama. Drama is also a very special word. Drama is a word
for your mama
that people they don't want drama for your mama. It's a word that people are afraid to use in front of their employer or employment. They'll use it with their friends in the background and they'll tell to their family about the drama, but they'll never directly use it. We directly use it and we just say no drama. And that's a big attraction for people with us because they've come from drama.
Oh yeah.
And so the fact that we head it straight on and we say, we don't want it here. We don't want it here to the point to where you're going to sign a policy that says we do not do drama. And this is what this means. And this is what this would happen if it does happen.
And drama policy.
No drama policy.
No drama policy.
No drama. You've got to be courageous as a business owner. You've got to be secure, courageous, and know where you're going and who you want with you on that journey. And when you're able to do that, then everything else just kind of moves out of the way. Yeah. That's been a big part of our growth as business owners. Is being courageous and standing up for what we truly and saying no to the things that we don't want versus accepting things because that's what it is, because we had to.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything.
Yeah. I want to get a cool soundbite here because you talked about growth. So if you're allowed to share, you don't have to give the numbers, but why don't you share how much you've grown in the last 2 years, if you're okay with that, revenue wise? Not just in percentages, because this, for any business owner who's listening, and you're going to hear some more about the systems and processes Claudia put in place, but share how much you've grown and then how hard compared to prior years you've worked to grow that much, comparative like lifestyle as a business owner. Why don't you just share qualitatively or quantitatively what you want? It's blown my mind.
Well, okay, so we're very, very blessed. And when you're small, think about it. When you're small, it's not easy to grow high percentages, right? It's easy to double-digit percentages because you're small.
Yeah. You go from $100 to $200.
You're 100%. That's not hard.
Right.
It gets harder as you grow bigger and bigger. And now you're talking millions, right? 7 figures.
Multiple millions.
Yeah, millions. And so it gets more difficult to do. And you have to really, really think about your business in a different way to grow, because you can grow a couple different ways. Add more customers, add more clients, right? Charge more money or do things faster and get it done quicker and out the door, right? That's the formula. It's not hard. So what we did was we redid our model to be more of a quality model versus a quantity model. So when we tried that, We focused more on the quality of the work, so a higher became more premium, and that's when things started to change. So we slowed down the process, slowed down the machine to focus more on the work that we were currently doing, giving a better result. And once we did that, it's like 20%, 40%,
20%, 40%,
60%.
60% growth year over year. What do you project for this year?
I think we're going to end up at 60.
That's a 60.
Yeah.
And so to her point, this is a company that's been around for decades. This is not like a new startup that, we grew by 20%.
No, it's 22. We're 22 years
This
in.
is insane. And it's a family business, and their service. And I have a lot of clients in different areas of law, and I've experienced with other law. Their quality is premium. Like they really, I've been in the kind of the guts of their strategy and what they do. They work backwards from the customer getting the best outcome. So being able to maintain that high level of service and not be just a high volume mill,
right?
And getting the results you do, just congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was a big risk because for years that's the model we had, the volume, right? Get more customers, and process them fast.
Yeah,
that's one model, and we did it for years. And that's really in our industry a model that's used by a lot of people.
Yep.
It's not a bad model. You make a lot of money, you serve a lot of people, but we decided to try something completely different. And it was a big risk, but so was being a goat. So was putting up our values the way we did. Everything was a risk. Everything is a risk as a business owner every single day. And so changing our model to what we've done, it didn't just happen overnight. Like I just mentioned, the first year it was 20%, then another 20, and now we're here at 60. We weren't even expecting this. We weren't, but it just goes to show that when you're doing the right thing for the right reasons, the universe pays you back.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, okay. So we're talking about, continuing on the culture piece, because Claudia mentioned the growth. So as far as how you systemized it, interview process, you've got your values and your goat out there. You're talking to people about it. Customers are repeating it. What other systems do you have in place? Like you can, so just for some context, Zanes Law is using the ETW platform for communicating the values in their assessments, et cetera. They're using the MIND methodology. And there's a book on that by Lee Benson, the MIND methodology. It's what I've gained expertise in over a decade plus working with that team. What are the other systemic things, if you want to go into, like today we just did a training on an assessment. Like, why don't you share a little bit of the components of that, because most people don't have any idea what that is.
Sure. So first of all, taking the time and making sure that you have your processes written down, and then that somebody takes their time to sit down with everybody from day one, so that that new person coming on understands the steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out, and they use a list every single time to do their work until they get so proficient that they don't need that checklist. So let's just keep that simple. The checklist that happens every single time with every single thing is incredibly important. How that checklist and what their work and how it ties to their most important number. Their most important number is not your most important number, right? There's one big most important number. Your person in the smaller departments, in each department, has to understand what their most important number is, so that those items that they do, and it's going to have a certain outcome. That outcome is going to lead to the bigger most important number. So they just need to worry about their own little piece. That's it. What you put down as an owner, as the leader in the company, they may understand, they may not understand, but they do understand what their work means.
Right.
So understanding and giving them the processes, teaching them how to do the processes, having them know what's expected of their outcomes, and then giving them a way to measure it all the time. A very transparent way to measure has been one of the systems that is just the moment you get in here, it might take a month or two for you to acclimate to it. Using ETW, they might just do a practice run the first time, but then the second time they're on and they need to be ready to do
Yeah,
it, do it.
yeah,
fully.
and we did just because top line, we did a training today, and we said there's three components when you assess people
Yes.
annually. One is the most
The
important number that they're
performance.
responsible for. So did they get the results or not? How well are they performing on their specific roles and responsibilities? You want to
Yes.
make sure you have that defined for every basically job title role in the organization,
And the culture.
and the culture. So these are things, especially the culture. That's a very unique component of the framework that you were using, because most people, culture is just a nice to have, so they're just focused on results. And then we talked today about, if you have someone that's getting results but they're bad cultural fit, that ends up being just a cancer on the organization, because then everyone else thinks that all they care about at XYZ company is the results. So I'm just going to be a jerk. I'm going to not care about customer service. I'm going to maybe take advantage of customers or my coworkers just so I get my numbers. So that balance, Zanes has been really good at incorporating it in both their one-to-ones, which they're having,
Right.
and the assessments.
The people here get a 30-day review, a 60-day review, a 90-day review. So we want to make sure their first 90 days and they're off to a good start, that everything we need to deal with gets dealt with at that time. I think you heard different examples today
Oh yeah.
of people saying, I walked in here 30 days, 60 days, and just by I was encouraged to reframe some things that I was saying and doing,
the feedback,
so
the
that now at 90 days I see what they mean and I see what they want. And so that's critical. And then you do your one-on-ones, get lots of feedback, and then you do an formal annual review when people expect to know things like, what are my growth opportunities? What's my new pay increase going to be, if any? Where's my path? That's when those discussions are had.
And just some perspective, if you're a business owner who is listening to this and it seems like a lot of different things to put in place, the truth is, it is.
That's because it is.
It is. And so, my recommendation would be to start from the basics, make sure everyone has a clear goal. They know what the company's goal is, what their goal is, how they contribute to it. Then you can layer on, initially just defining what the behaviors are. Then they have clear roles and responsibilities. Just getting those in place without all the processes behind it, just starting there is a good point. Then you could introduce it into your interview process like Claudia did. Then you can start introducing one-to-ones when the time is right. Then you can start doing performance reviews. And then Claudia does some, things on the compensation side too, to make sure people that are performing and have the values in place
are getting highly rewarded
for reward. Mm-hmm. So but I will say this, even though it takes some steps to put it in place, get started, because any one of those things you put in place, as was confirmed by feedback from a training we had today, is going to make the employees' lives a lot easier each step of the way. Just knowing what the goal is of the company, that's a start. Knowing what the goal is of your team, that's knowing what your goal is. Knowing what's expected of you, knowing what behaviors are expected. Every one of those steps eliminates confusion, and along with other systems and processes like training and stuff.
Management meetings is one of the things. If anything, if you're going to implement anything at all, use a system like ETW. There's many. I think there's
a
many.
lot of management operating systems. Yep.
Anything that will organize yourselves and your management teams and a platform to communicate in a clear way. The worst thing is having expectations of your managers or of your leaders and not really having a formal way to document that, to set expectations, deadlines. Nothing will get done if you don't do that. That's one of the first things we did, was use ETW for our management meetings. And that was, I remember the first 6 months of that, it was like putting out fires, solving problems. We didn't know which problem to solve. And we were already 17 years in, 20 years in. We were already in. And we were still disorganized. But once we got ourselves organized, it's like, if mom and dad know what they're doing at home, the kids will be fine. That's exactly what we did, is we got ourselves organized and we started tackling issues and problems one at a time and together. And together. Now, remember one thing you said, it doesn't matter who owns it, who does it. What matters is who owns it. Who's responsible for it? You don't need to do it. You just, who's going to own that?
Who's going to make sure it gets done within the time it needs to get done,
and then be accountable next week or next month or whenever that is due. So what that was, if you do anything at all, do that. And your management team, you can stand more united, you can be more organized, and the organization will feel it. So we'll feel the impact of things that are happening because problems are getting solved.
Yeah. And I do remember I'll call it the evolution. I actually remember the first time we were going to have one of these meetings, you asked, should these people managers be there? They're not typically in the meetings. It's just, the two co-founders. And I suggested yes. And I know initially was a little bit skeptical.
Yes.
But then what happened, you're right, it started to be a little bit of firefighting, but with a clear process and the framework, there started to be more meaningful initiatives. Like, hey, I remember one of the early ones was, let's get our training, which was in a binder.
Yes.
Let's get that onto some kind of platform to make it easier, right? And training is one of those things, for those of you who don't do it. I was actually having a conversation with my sister, and this one thing that I told her, I said, don't train another person without recording it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to train the next person, So just, even if it's just a basic recording with your iPhone, do that. So first steps, let's upgrade our training, and then you don't have to spend the time for each person. And then one by one, all these systems came in place, and they started to free up the leadership team's time, and then they got to address higher level problems and less firefighting and more systemic solutions.
More strategy, more yes. I think it took like 6 months, and we stopped putting out fires. We stopped taking care of things, little things, and thinking more about the business. So it wasn't overnight, but every week we even felt better about ourselves because we saw things happening, things changing, and saw the results.
And results soon followed because people were focused on the highest value things.
Exactly. And I remember you guided us through a lot of those times, and having you as a facilitator, kind of like a middleman directing, making sure we weren't.
Yeah, because people, you could doubt yourself and say, is this normal? Are we a dysfunctional team? I will tell you, this has been this team, and Claudia has always been a high performer, so maybe she doesn't appreciate it, but I've seen a lot of teams. You all have taken culture, even before working with us, you've taken culture seriously. And it's very much, if we commit to something, why didn't we follow through with it? So that big credit to you. You're lovingly, I would not want to be on Claudia's, like, I didn't do what I said I was going to do, because Claudia is, in a very respectful way, she's very clear, like, this was my expectation, it didn't happen, and why. Like, she won't hold back, in a good way. And I think that's also part of the secret to your success. You're very clear.
And one of the things also now that's triggering things is that because it's very important, I think, for business owners who haven't realized this, is that so much of the weight then comes off of you, because I don't know about you guys, but you're always solving problems. You're always thinking about things, ways to fix things, ways to change things. It's everything falls on your shoulders. Right. And once we got comfortable changing the way we think, and the way I'm going to speak for myself, the way I think, the way I am, when I let go of that, then I realized that my team members were capable of doing more and contributing more. And it felt like less weight on me, less things that I needed to solve, less things that I needed solutions that I needed to come up with, and truly became a team. It was a big shift for me to think that way, because of so many years of having to do everything by myself, or dug in myself, to letting other people do things. It was one of the biggest realizations for me, because now we have more people contributing, more people helping, and not everything fell on me.
No, that and I appreciate you pulling that out. I actually have seen that is probably one of the biggest challenges business owners have. They can have the financial side functioning well. Like, there's this myth that money equals freedom. But if you haven't built a self-managing company where you can step away for vacations and things like that, or you don't have a strong bench strength of leaders that can operate without you being there, it's not a good feeling, right?
It's not.
And maybe just to let's agitate it a little. Why don't you share, like, in the past 24 years, like, some of maybe the worst memories, in contrast with, say, the worst memories where you felt like you can't even take an hour off or sleep, like what were those deep, dark days? Like,
that's happened. And that's happened many times. For the first 10 years of I'll give you a great example. Boy, at the time it was very painful to experience, but now it's like, it is what it is. So Doug and I didn't take a vacation for our true vacation for the first 10 years of our business. It was a long time. I think we took one little beach vacation, but that's a long time.
That's a
I
long
can't go
time.
10 months without going somewhere these days, much less 10 years. So we took a
Yeah.
vacation. It was the first time we took 10 days, and some employee got disgruntled and said that all we do is they saw us take a vacation
Mm.
and became disgruntled. And that employee said that all we do is take vacations, that we just came off from a 10-day vacation, which was true. It was
It
true.
was like a first one. Like
But it was the first
it's
one
like
in
one day
10
a
years.
year. Yeah.
In 10 years.
Yeah.
And I don't advise anybody, any business owner, to ever do that to themselves,
Yeah.
ever. It was very painful at the time.
Yeah.
It was very painful. That employee judged that time, and they judged the type of car that I drove.
Mm.
And it's like, what difference does that make?
Yeah.
Focus on your work,
Right.
and do your work, and that's all you're here to.
Yeah.
That's what you're here to do. Not
Yeah.
focus on where I go and what
Yeah,
I
it
do.
sounds like there's some other.
That was
that's
very
the
good.
drama. That's where the drama comes in.
There was drama. I know there's drama, and I know that every business owner has some story. We have many.
Sure.
There's many painful ones, many to consider when it comes to vendors that don't come through, or employees that didn't perform the way we wanted, or clients who are not appreciative of how hard you worked and what effort you put in. They just don't see it the same way. Those are all very painful and hurtful things, but they're just things.
Right. And so just to contrast it, like what has changed today? I know, nothing is ever perfect, but like how from you don't have to share how much vacation you do take, but like just the feeling, the emotions, like what's different today compared to back then where you're too scared to take a day of vacation?
Well, today I think back on all of the wonderful things that we've done, and people we've been with, and places we've gone. And I just said this recently to Doug, and I realized it myself, that looking back all those years, all those times, I never missed 1 minute or $1 that was spent. So the business still ran. Everything was still here. The money all came around. I never once said to myself, I should have never done that or gone there or been with those people or any of those things, because as we stand, everything still stands. So taking care of what you want, doing what you feel is right at the time, given what you know, is the only thing you can do. Things will always be here. Things will always be here. Money will always be here. Work will always be here. Clients will come. Customers will come. Employees will come. They'll always be here.
No, that's good. That's exciting. Hopefully that's motivating for any of you who are in maybe we'll call it the dark times where you feel you can't even take a day of vacation. There is a path forward. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's see. Anything else you want to share in this lovely building? We've just seen a little fraction of it.
Oh yeah. Do you want to see our break room?
Yeah, let's see this break room here.
So we came from an office the break room was the size of a closet. Okay. And we were adding more people, and everybody was eating in conference rooms and eating and sharing and taking different shifts. And so I promised to build out a great break room.
Hi, good. It's being used.
It's being used. And so please come see our break room.
Got a nice view of. Hi there. Hi. Good. How are you doing? Look at this. And really nice setup here.
We built it so that we have 2 microwaves, because people are in here all the time warming up their food. And so we built into.
They have a no fish policy. No microwaving fish.
We have a bar area because some people are bar people. I'm a bar person. I like to sit at the bar. And so some people like that. For example, over here, Miss Cheryl, that's her spot. You'll always find her there that spot.
No, this is beautiful. Very, very well done.
She listens to her music and eats her lunch.
This is great. What a great area to
We have our nice refrigerator with
built. Look at
built
this. I feel like I'm doing a home garden show. This is great.
Our signage, really nice. Of course.
Yeah, this is beautiful. And overlooking the street. This
overlooking
is really
Camelback.
Well, I could tell how excited you are. I know it's been a lot of work to get all the improvements tenant improvements. But you all did a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
And it's definitely a good environment to work in.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so in the lobby, you can see that we've got the 2 conference rooms, the light conference room over here to the right, and then the darker conference room over here to the left. We still have to name them. I don't know what to name them, but
light and dark.
light and dark. But yeah, so we have the 2 ready to go at any
That's
time.
awesome.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah. So,
well, I really appreciate you taking the time to show me your
thanks
space,
for coming.
and more importantly, the your experience and the success. Like this, it's one thing for someone to abstractly say culture is important, processes and systems are important, but you really took it upon yourself to consistently implement them, and here you are. You're just like in a great phase of growth, and again, after 20 plus years,
22 years,
60% top line growth.
Yeah.
And by the way, here's a secret for all of you all: when your top line growth grows and you're as systems and process oriented as the team at Zanes, your margins increase, because how could they not, right? And then recently we're talking about leveraging certain AI functionality and tools to even make things even more efficient, bring more value.
And again, the good thing about processes is that because of those processes, we haven't had as many people, because it's not chaotic.
Yes.
It's not chaotic here. Yeah. We've got the process you follow, the systems you follow, and the people who can do it, versus throwing people at the problem.
Yeah. If you don't have your processes down and you throw people at the problem, you're just actually amplifying the mistakes.
Exactly.
Things can get worse. So
exactly.
But yeah, this has been awesome. So
Thanks,
good
Ellie.
talking to you always.
Yeah.
Glad you gave me one of your exclusive, very few cherished interviews. And I'll see you all in the next video.
Bye.
Thank you.